This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Lighting. Today, I'm very lucky to joined by Ring Wraps. So thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's good to see you.
Likewise. How we doing, Fred?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm just finishing the weekend, just doing a bit of homework. It's due in tomorrow, so it's a bit late. But how are you?
What's homework? What does that constitute?
Well, I've been writing. I do a film course, you see, so I've been writing a bit about cameras on the film. It's a bit boring, actually. I've been writing a bit about cameras and lenses. It's quite boring. But yeah, how have you been though? What have you been up to?
Weird and wonderful world of a dad of two trying to watch boxing matches at 5 a.m. after working in the black cab all night. A lot of juggling and struggling, my friend.
But can't you? What fight did you watch at 5 a.m.? Was that David Benavidez?
I watched. Well, Benavidez was on slightly earlier than Munguia Rosado. I think Munguia Rosado was on around 4 o'clock, so it probably finished around 4:40.
The good thing about the DAZN app is you can click on it and watch the fight in the morning. And it's not like when you go on YouTube. My dad's always like, "Oh, why don't you watch in the morning on YouTube?" But you see how long the video lasts. You see the thumbnail. It's always really zoomed in, so it's not really worth watching on YouTube if you want to watch it properly. But you could have just watched it on the DAZN app in the morning.
Yeah, no. Do you know what it is? Maybe I'm a bit old school. I like to watch things live. It's weird. I know we're in this medium where every bit of information and footage is available to you 24/7, but short of being at the event, and you can't always just nip to America, I like to watch it live, man. Especially for fighters that I've got a soft spot for, and Rosado's one of those guys. So, yeah.
I can see. I mean, watching it live is always better because then it's kind of in the moment. I see. Yeah, I like Rosado. He's been on the channel before. He's a really nice guy. So let's talk about you. I first kind of found out about you. I think it was summer last year, when you did that fight camp rap. How did that kind of come around? So I was Eddie Hearn was really pleased with that.
Well, so before we can celebrate the positivity of that, I just have to rest in peace my friend Pro Bees from Pep Talk UK. Frankie was the guy who actually got the song to Matchroom, because I'd basically been out in Vegas in February for Fury Wilder 2, and I knew Pro Bees already. We'd done some stuff. He'd kind of interviewed me as a music artist prior, when I was doing music under a different alias before. But to kind of bring it back to your question, from February through the early stages of the pandemic, I was collaborating with Pep Talk, so I was in the mix more than I'd ever been. I'd gone to a few of the pressers. We went to the early Usyk and Chisora one that obviously would get cancelled inevitably, but I was in the mix. I was around, and I said, you know what? I'd already done one before. I'd done one for the Fury Wilder fight. I did that freestyle on an Eminem song, and then it got kind of produced as an original track. And it was just, it's my natural talent. I've been a rapper for 20 years, from like UK garage to grime to drum and bass, everything. So it was a natural progression, really. Eddie was doing big things, and it is going from strength to strength, as we know. And I thought, even though the pandemic was kind of effing with everyone's creativeness, I thought, you know what? There's few opportunities to shine here, but it kind of just came together randomly. It was all very spontaneous. A lot of my best work over the years has always been like that, in the sense that I said, right, can I get a song? Tick. Can I write the lyrics? Check. Is the hook catchy? And it was very catchy. I'll be honest, the only thing that disappointed me about that was that it had two versions. The original version, the last lyric was about egg and cheese, playing on the Sam Egerton and Ted Cheeseman. So, and what I should have known with my experience, but what that did was it dated the song specifically for week 1 of Fight Camp. Even though I was mentioning Dillian and Taylor Passoon, August 22, like, you know, the rematch was due, all of that stuff. That was all right. But as Eddie said it in his Coogan interview, he played the song, and that's when you know you've made it. When you make it onto No Context Turn, and you're playing this, he plays the song live in Coogan's interview, and big up to Coogan, he said that could be the anthem. And then Eddie was like, yeah, but it's got the egg and cheese bit. Anyway, long story short, it was obviously Fight Camp was kind of on the fly even for them last year, right? it was all very new. It was all a whole kind of like new experience, like no crowds. Matchroom had never done anything like that on their grounds. So I think as good as my song was, and when I did the new version, and I'm quite happy that I added David Diamante onto the last part of the verse instead. So I said something like, David Diamante's on set, Matchroom's hustle, you got to respect, or something like that. And they would just go, fight, count. But it's weird because I think they used it for the DAZN international broadcast, which was amazing. But like I know from music, like with boxing, you're only as good as your last hit. You're only as good as your last fight, your last performance. And yeah, I've since had another great collab with Rob Tebbett on Boxing Social. I did the Canelo Eddie Hearn freestyle.
Yeah, I was about to bring it up. Yeah, that's really good.
But you know what though, Fred? I mean, we could talk lyrics and content and how, you know, relevant or clever it is or it isn't. But and don't get me wrong, if the song was, can we swear on here?
Yeah.
I mean, if the song was shit, then no one would care. But because I've been doing it 20 years, so I know what a shit song is. So I won't put out a shit song. First and foremost, I want to be proud of my body of work. But the funny thing was that week, I've just been unlucky, you know, and timing is everything, because that week, obviously, Billy Joe Saunders was causing a lot of problems for Eddie in Texas, threatening not to fight and whatnot. So when one of the Boxing Social guys played it to Eddie to get a reaction video, I think circumstantially it wasn't a good place for Eddie, because he was already being accused by Team Saunders to favor Canelo, right? And my lyrics play on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about the Holy Trinity, Eddie Hearn, Canelo, Eddie Reynoso. And because I learned Spanish, I put a few Spanish lyrics in there. So yeah, I'm basically saying that Eddie and Saul are untouchable as a team. So I don't, if it was any other fighter apart from Saunders, I reckon Hearn would have probably posted it again. So it's just, sometimes it's just, you know, timing and luck. But the next one, I'm actually in the process of writing about 5 freestyles for multiple platforms, fighters, because I had my second kid last year. I've got a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So it's a lot of juggling. So finding that creative space is not always easy as it used to be. But no excuses. My guy Ade Oladipo, he and I know about work rate because I've done it in the music game before, but he's put together a couple of years of solid output, and look where he's gone. Like, I was working with Ade last year. He was actually in my cab with me. We were going to Matchroom HQ to try and film outside when I was dropping the Fight Camp anthem. So it's all about momentum. But this end of this year, in about 3 weeks, I'm gonna drop visual after visual after visual, and that way, my ultimately, disclaimer, my main aim is to get on the Esbc game. I'm dying to get. I can
try and make that happen. I can try and make that happen to you. I know a load of people who work on the game.
Well, like, I'm kind of upset that Todd Grisham hasn't got on the DMs, man. Like, all jokes aside, I wanna get a song on the soundtrack, because I'm an artist, but I'm a massive boxing fan. So yeah, that was a very long-winded answer, but Fight Camp Anthem was good. I'm proud of it, because it was kind of my introduction to the boxing scene. I'm still finding my way. It's a very weird space I'm in. I feel like I've created a new medium. I was Rob Tebbett about this, of like boxing music. And I've got my good friend Grim Sickers. He's a big grime artist. He's known for doing like his John Fury freestyles and stuff. But I'm very much focused on using my creativity and channeling it through boxing. So whatever way I can triangulate it back to it, whether it's, I can do interviews, this, that, and that. But for example, like yourself, you're not just another guy interviewing people over Zoom, because your whole niche is different. Your look's different, your age demographic's different, even the way you speak's different to the average boxing interviewer. That's interesting, that's engaging. So when people are saying to me, oh, you know, if you're gonna blow in the boxing, you've got to do loads of interviews, there's got to be loads of content. I'm like, you know what? There's too many people doing that, and they do it good already. So I don't want to just be another hat in the ring. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I want to do my thing, and people be known for like, oh yeah, that's ring raps. He does the boxing raps, hence ring raps. I put a lot of thought into the name. It sounds like a bit of an obvious cheesy name, but there were other names, and like I took a lot of thought into like what could tie it together. So
yeah, room raps now all makes sense to the rapping, and I see what you mean about interviews, because everyone does interviews now. It's so overcrowded. But well, with the music, right? It's original. You're the only person I can name who does kind of boxing related music. And in terms of that ESBC game, that would be having your music on there. So when does this song? So the next song you're going to release, you want that to be in the game? Is that at all linked to ESBC or anything?
Listen, without giving too much away, it's crossed my mind a few times to do an ESBC freestyle, just to straight up pitch it to them and be like, this is what I'm bringing to the table, or something that's just so intrinsic to boxing or a boxer that it has to be part of the game. You know, like for example, if Fight Camp was about ESBC, the song is musically more than, you know, good enough to be part of a project. It's, you know, so what I'm saying is it's proven. Even my short track record's proven. But I know what it's like in any medium of entertainment. They only are interested when you're hot. That's it. So it's like anything. You've got to be consistent and you've got to be hot. It's not easy to stay on top. Look at Canelo. 4 fights in 12 months. It's 11 months. It's not easy. You've got to put the work in. So, you know.
Yeah, when you release that song, I'll email it to the person who handles all the kind of business at Allison, and I'll send it to Ryan Rhodes and Todd Grisham, and then we'll try and
I appreciate that, Fred. I'll tell you what, I'll bring you into my very small circle of confidence, because, you know, in this creative medium, you get quite paranoid. Even in my late 30s, I still get paranoid about my creativity, but it is what it is. But yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You want to keep your circle small. You don't want to be bringing loads of people into it, you know?
No.
So how long does it kind of take you to write a song like this then, like a rap song? How long does it take?
So right now, while I drive around in my taxi, so I'm a black taxi driver. That's the day job at night. Get your head around that one. I'm just formulating all the time. I'm a music person. So when you're a lyricist or a music person, music is part of your everyday breathing. Whether you're at the gym, whether you're in the shower, whether you're at work, you're always listening to music in your head. So from Fight Camp Anthem, there are a few lines in there that I'm already thinking to use as samples on more like a house style tune, where they repeat and keep repeating on like a choppy beat. But when it comes to actually writing bars or 16s or verses, I'll be honest, the best lyrics that I've ever wrote throughout my career have always just wrote themselves, in the sense that the verse could be done in an hour. I think even with Fight Camp, maybe 2 hours tops. That's quick, but it's not the quickest ever, but that's quick. To make something, we'll put it this way, to make something that clicked and worked, that's pretty quick. But you know, I've had a lot of ups and downs in my music career over the years. I had a lot of success under another alias previously, and you learn the hard way. So you learn what works. And it's funny actually, even though I make music, I describe it as content now. I don't make songs anymore. I make content because of the medium we're in now. I realize now that, so interestingly, I rarely make any material now that's longer than a minute because of Instagram. So it's very strange. Whereas before, that would be ludicrous. Okay, you could do a freestyle for a minute, but your song would always be 3 to 4 minutes for radio. That was standard, you know? So yeah. But also, Fred, it comes down to how much I'm enjoying the song, as in the beat, and how natural the subject matter lends itself to me. So when I was writing about Fight Camp, it was very organic, because it's all stuff that I was watching and consuming all the time. The Dillian White interviews, Eddie Hearn. And Eddie's very fundamental actually to my kind of new creative positivity, because Eddie's a glass is half full man. You know, that's how he's able to, apart from obviously coming from a very strong background, that's how he's able to step into America. Because in America, you have to be an American, not an American. America, we've always said America is glass half full, Brits are glass half empty. But I think Eddie has given me a new lease of life indirectly to say, I think when he played my song on Coogan's video, I was like, we have a saying in music: real recognize real. But I think it goes beyond that. It's talent. Graft recognize graft. See what I mean? So this is the hustle. So I look around. I know I'm not doing the most I can do right now, but I'm okay with it. So I've got a young baby. I'm not making excuses, but I can say, you know what, your time's coming. Just line things up, and then yeah. So that I'm hoping to end the year with a nice combination. That's the plan. So.
Oh yeah, that seems awesome. But are you on? What you should do, because I know on your Instagram you post a lot of like kind of boxing highlights, and when Fury wins, you got a picture of him in the belts. You should be posting a lot, promoting your music, I think, because a lot of people don't know, but you should be promoting a lot.
100%. You are right.
You're on Twitter as well. Get on Twitter. Twitter's really good for that sort of thing.
I know, man. You know what? I hear you, man. People keep telling me this. You know what it is to Twitter, man. I'm just a little bit dubious about the negative aspects of Twitter.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to follow anyone on Twitter. You can just be stuff out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. That's something I'm gonna have to kind of eat humble pie and get on board with. But regarding your other thing about me reposting content, that's why I was waiting to have a body of work, because even though I've had success and I've done good material, it's been few and far between because the opportunities haven't been there. To be quite honest, it was very hard to get inspiration specifically during the last year because there were hardly any big events. So that's why I jumped on Fight Camp, because it was a focal point, and it was the biggest thing that happened in British boxing last year. So but you don't have to be that clever to surmise what the next kind of focal boxers or events are that I'm looking at while I'm writing now. So you can kind of guess, really. So
I can see what you mean. Are you on Spotify or Apple Music either as well?
Yeah, I'm registered on Spotify, but because my last song had samples in it, you can't release it on Spotify. So with my new stuff, some of it's gonna be just for content, which will have samples, and some of it will be original, because they're very strict on Spotify. If you've got any samples, they'll if you sign that waiver and if you don't own it, they'll you get one strike. You get two strikes, you're off. So I didn't really want to piss them off, for want of a better term. But no, once I've got a mini catalog together, things happen quite quickly though, because the Fight Camp thing happened quickly. So I'm a little bit cautious that I don't want to just trip into things, because I found that if you don't have the next 2 or 3 things ready in the pipeline, you're hot for a minute and then you're not again. And I've witnessed that so many times in music. So it's like, I really want to get a body of work together. So I think in the next 2-3 weeks, I'll be in studio and I'll be very productive. So that's, as I said, I've been having quite a lot of good writing space in my head this week, actually. So I feel quite positive, because it's a very emotional process, writing, kind of like filmmaking or even boxing. I mean, look at last night, Terry Harper didn't look like she was at the races up here, and it translated to the performance. So, it's mood and emotion are very intertwined with creative output.
Yeah, certainly. It's all mental nowadays. I don't take too much of time. I've got a couple of other points I want to cover. So you're saying you've got a few songs coming out this year. So the next month or so, you're gonna have another song coming out.
Yes.
And is it going to be about a boxing event or kind of boxing in general?
It's hard to know before the verses are finished, but no, there'll be something. There'll be at least 2 freestyle songs about specific boxers. Then there'll be a kind of homage to one of the platforms and how I've been inspired. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out what platform it's probably going to be. Let's just say it's the platform with the new momentum. So some of them are specific and some are more, as I said, I'm doing a couple of house song ones as well, which I think are going to really catch people out, because they're just going to be very simplistic but very catchy. So it's not always about rap. I make all different music, so I'm big into my my dance music and house music, and so it could be grime, it could be rap, it could be drum and bass, it could be rock, it could be whatever. As long as I'm writing on it and spitting on it, it's my music.
So you think that's kind of you'll release it, or if everyone hear it in December sometime, towards the end of December?
Yes. Yeah, I think even earlier than that, middle of December, I think. Middle.
Okay.
Because I can't leave it too close to Christmas, because by Christmas everyone's distracted with other stuff, right? So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everyone's listening to Christmas music as well. That's the thing. But then hopefully it'll be like middle of December. When you do release it, I'm sure we'll have another interview then. We'll catch up. But thanks so much for your time. I do really appreciate it. If you can get Fred exciting in any of the songs, that'll be excellent.
Fred, I can easily do you a skit or a jingle. Easily.
I'll come down to the studio and we'll do an interview there.
Calm, it's in central London. Calm, you're welcome to come. Calm, I'm going to be there all day and all night. I'll actually have a cameraman there filming, because we're going to utilize the time and kill two birds with one stone and make kind of like a ad hoc kind of run and gun music video at the same time. So you've got to be clever with your time these days, man. Especially I've got young kids, so I have to make it count. Hence, I've been stacking up these ideas, and I'm going to just knock them all out in like 1 or 2 days. So I'm excited. I've nearly told you like 3 times what the freestyles are about, but I keep hearing the names. They keep hitting my tongue, but then the brain's like, no, shut up. It's funny. It's funny. But no, there's a lot of good people in the game, man. A lot of good people in the game that have been quite welcoming to a relative outsider. They recognize the talent. They see that I love the game, but I've been welcomed with open arms by a few people. As yourself, you probably experienced that as well. So, and Fred, if you ever want to come down to live in the flesh, if you ever want to come down to meet Mark Tibbs and the boys, I'll bring you down there, man. I'll talk to Mark. Come down there. I've got a camera. Even if you want to borrow my camera, take the footage, no problem, man. Do a little collab down there. I'm all about making things happen.
Oh yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I spoke to Mark, I think it was a week ago. We'll get down to that gym at some point. I send Mark an email when it's a bit quieter. It's great talking. I'm sure we'll catch up soon. I'll come down to the studio when you're nearly finishing one of your songs. Give us a little sneak preview. We'll do an interview in the studio. Does that sound good?
Sounds good, Fred.
So, and I'll put your Instagram link in the description. But apart from that, what are all your other socials and anything else we want to shout out?
You know what? At the minute, I'm channeling everything through Insta. I'll take on board what you said about Twitter. And once my material is ready to go, I'll start firing on Twitter as well. I will. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I'm all right. Thanks so much for time, Ring Raps. We'll catch up soon then, mate. That's awesome.
Thank you, Fred. Big up.